don't just give you strategy. We give you the identity, the belief, the reality rewiring that makes those strategies inevitable. We collapse timelines, we make the impossible inevitable, and we do it over and over and over again. The revolution is in motion. The women inside of the Kane Collective, they are not waiting for permission. We are rewriting the rules, we're taking over industries, and we are setting the new standard for what's possible. We are a category of one. We are the proof that you can have it all. Wealth, freedom, impact, legacy, without compromise. And we are not slowing down. Be part of the movement, because this isn't just business growth. This is an uprising. This is the Kane Collective, and the world will never be the same after us.
Hello, my queens. How are you? Oh my goodness. Look at all of these gorgeous women on live. If you can turn your video on, you don't have to be you could literally be on your sweats with your kids around you. Like there's no rules. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. The only rules are your own rules. And so we get to shatter what society tells us, what is normal, what is realistic, what is logical. There's no such thing. We get to build as big and as far as we want to go. Leslie, I love that. You can eat on camera too. It's truly anything goes here. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Delusional. Who is ready to get Delulu? Put it in the chat. I know we already did, but we are just anchoring that in. And I'm going to let a couple people in here. So I wanted to do something. I did this last year too. I wanted to do something for my community around goal setting and setting yourself up for success going into the new year. And what a better word than delusional, because if there's anything that we've proven to be true in this world is that there's no rules, there's no logic, there's no reality. We can go as big and as far as we want to go. And in this hour together, I'm going to be passing on to you all of the codes, the wisdom, the lessons learned, the mistakes that I've made on my journey as a mom of three. I'm literally in my 4-year-old's bedroom right now. My kids are all home because we have a blizzard in Minnesota. And it's that you can build as big as you possibly want to go in the midst of messy, chaotic, real life. My business has brought in now 1.7 million in cash in the last 3 years. When I say that, I'm like, what? That's crazy. And the crazier part is we're literally just getting started. And the best part of that is that you get to do the same too. The only limit is your mind. And in our hour together, we're going to shatter that. So there really are absolutely no limits for you. I'm going to give you the codes to how I think about goal setting, how I think about going after goals, and then you're going to have a really tangible action plan after this call to take you into the new year so that you feel confident, you feel fired up, you have both the identity and the strategy to go absolutely freaking crush it. I was going to say today, but forever and ever more, amen, and in 2026. Okay, who loves a giveaway? Put yes in the chat. I see Christy. Christy's like the manifestation queen too. You always win the giveaways. I love it. Yes. Okay. Amazing. Because we're going to be doing something fun. If you guys have been following along on social and some of my content, I have been seeding this conversation and I've been having behind the scenes conversations about this as well. I've created a new space for women in 2026, and it is based off of my own thoughts and feelings about where the industry is headed and what high level women need, which every single one of you on here is a high level, ambitious, savage AF woman. And having conversations with other incredible women out there. Because tell me this, put a yes in the chat. I'm guessing you all have invested in coaching. You've invested in masterminds. You have learned all of the strategies. You could go message to high level buyers in your sleep. And if we're being honest, you're kind of over it. like your head is full of strategy. You're like, I don't need any more formulas. What I need is to feel alive, to be activated, to be in rooms with powerful women where there's no hierarchies, there's no pedestals, there's no coach mentee energy, where we get to come together, build together, share our wisdom. And so I have created that space. And I'm going to be telling you more about it during our call. But one of you who is here live and stays till the end is going to win a spot in this space. This is a 5K value that one of you will win. You will get in. Yes, I'm so excited. So stay tuned for that. I will be sharing more about it. I'm really excited. Really excited. Okay. So let's dive in. Are you guys ready to get delusional? Let's get delusional together. I want to hear, put it in the chat. What is your goal for 2026? What are you building? What do you want to crush out? If you like dollar amounts, if you earned this next year, what would make you pee your pants? You'd be like, what? Is this reality? Put it in the chat. Christy, girl, it's happening. 250K. Megan, 100K. Victoria, agency, 6-figure months. Yes. Heidi, 100K. Sarah, working from home so you can do the school drop-offs, 10K months. Krista, 10K months. Angie, 500K. Melissa, 10K. Alexis, 10K. 2 team members. Alexis, you're going to need those team members fast too. You are growing so fast. I love it. Kristen, 50K. Leslie, 50K. Nicole, 250. Christine, 60K months. Yes. Okay. All right. We got some Delulu women in the house. I want to ask you a question. What would happen if you doubled your goal? Just a hypothetical. What if you were to double your goal for 2026? The reason that I ask you that is because when you make your goals bigger to where your brain is like, well, how do I do that? This is when the magic happens. When you don't know how you're going to get somewhere and you are so locked on to where you are going, you start figuring out creative pathways, different ways of doing things, easier ways of doing things. Because we know what we know, right? We know what society has taught us. We know how to goal set. So who's heard of SMART goals? Yeah, okay. Can we laugh? SMART goals, I'm trying to remember exactly. It's like time-bound, realistic, yada, yada, yada. That is a very normal and average way to accomplish very normal and average things, but we don't do that. So what I'm going to help you tap into on this workshop is how to anchor in your biggest, highest goal and condense the timeline, because you will think this. And if you guys are book nerds too, 2 books that I recommend reading on this, these are both by Dr. Ben Hardy, 10X is easier than 2X, and The Science of Scaling. And it's all about setting impossible goals and then condensing the timeline, because you're going to think about, wait, if I were to do it the logical way that everyone's been taught, and let's use the example because a lot of you do come from my spaces. So a lot of you are amazing, badass, savage service providers. And likely you've been taught the normal way to book clients, right? Go apply for jobs, go have one-to-one conversations, all the things. What if there was an easier way? What if you could book clients at scale? What if instead of booking clients one by one, you could book 10 clients at a time? So this is the kind of thinking that we want to get you into in 2026, where you are not playing by normal rules and you are so laser focused on where you're headed. You have your blinders on. You're not worried about what anyone else is doing. You're like, I know where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm going, and I am relentless. I'm delusional in pursuit of it. And you allow yourself to be creative, to be intuitive, to have the ideas, to move quickly on them and go after it. So I'm going to take you through this process on the workshop today. But first, let me tell you a little bit about my story. Let me tell you about the story of $70 months to 13 months after that. I had a 100K cash month, and in 3 months total, 1.7 million cash. It is this. Impossible goals, going after them, thinking bigger. Okay. So, like a lot of you, I imagine, we are all high performing, high achieving women. We have been taught that the way to success is to work harder, to climb the ladder, raises, promotions. Likely, your worth and validation was tied to achievements and accomplishments. That is the game and world in which we grew up. But there comes an awakening point, right? Where at some point you're like, wait, there is another way. And the way that I've been subscribed to doesn't land any longer. So for me, that was motherhood. I had built an amazing career. I loved my career. It was very fulfilling. I'd worked hard to climb the ladder. I was a director at a university by the time I was 26. And I had my first baby right before I turned 30. And I actually went back to work after having her. I was like, I've worked so hard to build this career, and so much of my identity was tied into my career. I was like, who am I without this career, the shiny career, the title, the fancy outfits, all of that. But then something happens to wake you up. And I want you to put your wake up moment in the chat. What was your wake up moment where you realized there was another way? So 3 months into going back to corporate, I like every day I would drop her off at daycare. Ooh, Kristen says COVID. Yeah. Yeah. So I would drop her off at daycare and I would just sob on the way to work. It felt like I was handing over half of my heart. And 3 months in, I'm like, you know what? This is not why I became a mom. I want to be there for the first words, the skinned knees because she fell down, to wipe the tears off of her face, all of that. So I quit my job. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. It's going to be the best thing ever. But like all of us high achieving women, I don't think we sit still very well. If that's you, put a yes in the chat. We're like, oh, what can we work on? What can we build? I want to be involved in something. Yeah, Alexis, Kristen, Catherine, yes. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Okay, we all have the wake up moment. Yeah. So I jumped into direct sales actually. It's where Kat and I met. Funny enough and amazing enough. And it was one of those things you could do it alongside motherhood. The things that I learned in direct sales carried over. Like I know it gets a bad rap, but there are things that I learned that made business easier when I started building my own business. 5.5 years into stay-at-home motherhood, I had 3 kids, and I had worked my way up in a direct sales company. It was an athleisure company, and I love clothes and fashion, and so it was very fun. But by December 2021, I hit number one in sales in the company that month. And guess what my commissions were? They were $1,300 for number one in sales. And you guys, I was like glued to my phone. You talk about like if anyone's been in direct sales or like the month end reach outs and all that. Yes, it was a lot. It was a lot. And so, that was part of like my secondary wake up was, wow, I'm working really hard to build someone else's business. And then that summer, my husband, because he's like, Brie, like you are always like, like you're always working on that thing. And it's always the promise, like, babe, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna retire you someday. Who's made those promises to their husbands before? Yeah, yeah. The fun part is now we get to do that. Like so many women in my world get to out earn their husbands and do out earn their husbands now, which is so fun. So that was summer of 2022. My husband says, all that time and energy you're putting into someone else's business, what if you put it into your own? And I was like, whoa, light bulbs, light bulbs. Oh my gosh. And I would see other women earning 30K months online. Who has been there where you're like, whoa, this is like brain breaking. Because my first job out of college was 30K annually. And I was like, woohoo, I have a corporate job. This is so cool. So to think about earning 30K months was insane. But I borrowed belief because I saw other women doing it. I said, wait, if they can do it, why can't I do it? It's just another code to crack. And so, summer of 2022, I made my first, as soon as I decided that I was going to build a business, I made my first investment. I invested 2K. I think it was like mom CEO, something. It was, it was for moms to become the CEO of their own business. And it cracked the door open. And it's funny, right? Once you get into something, you realize how much you don't know. And so I was like, whoa, I gotta, learn messaging and sales and all the things. And so I just kept investing. It's like there's more to learn, more to know. And I was implementing and applying the things that I'd learned, starting to build a community, show up online for my own brand, starting to make offers. And I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do. I went into mom confidence coaching, actually. Christine on here, yeah, Christine and I met in that world, in a coaching program that we joined together in the fall of 2022. It's so fun. So 6 months in though, mom confidence coaching, I had invested thousands of dollars. I didn't have it. I put it on my card, just like any small business, right? Any small business invest capital to learn and to grow and to like open the actual business. And so that was my mindset there was I'm going to pre-invest to develop the skills and the knowledge and the structure to build a business. But 6 months in, I'm like, oh, SHIT, just in case you have kids. Okay, here we go. I had made $132 total. Meanwhile, I'm still locked on to 30K months. And at that time, my husband's like, hey, you gotta stop investing. Like, this just isn't working out. He had also, when I told him I'm gonna earn 30K months, he laughed and he's like, that is toxic. That's gonna set you up to fail. That's unrealistic. Like, go pick a different goal, Brie. How many of you have been told that? Put a yes in the chat. I see Christy nodding. I see a lot of you nodding. Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a chat, guys. Let's have a chat. Because here's what happens, and this is so normal. Number one, the people that you are surrounded by, they, like all of us, have grown up and been raised with logical, normal, corporate is safe, get the benefits, the stability, all of that. The wild part, you guys, the education system was designed to create employees. Did you know that? Like when I think it was like in the 40s or 50s, the US education system. So it does not support, being an entrepreneur, a business owner, all of that. They don't teach us that in school. At least when I went to school. I think things are changing now. But so people don't get it. And what I want to say is that's okay. The thing is, when my husband was like, yo, you are out to lunch, you are out to lunch, I had a decision point. I had to decide, was I going to believe him? Was I going to tone down my goals? Was I going to change my goals? Was I going to quit? Was I going to pivot? And I had this deep conviction and faith that I was meant for it and I was going to do the thing. And 30K months were my anchor point. It's like if the other women have figured out how to do it, like I'm going to. I don't care. I'm going to do it. I know this is meant for me. How many of you here feel that way? You might not be at your goal yet, but you're like, oh, I really want to swear. I don't want to swear. Like my kids are home, but I'm like, duh, right? You're like, I know this is meant for me and I'm not going to quit. So here's what I did. I decided not to tell my husband. Like, I'm going to go build the business and I'll just put my head down. I'm going to work while he's at work and I'll work from the bubble bath after the kids go to bed because I take a bubble bath every night anyways. I'm going to do the thing. He's on a need to know basis and he still is on a need to know basis. He is not involved in my business decisions. It's my business. And so for an entire year, I built without him even knowing what was going on. He's not on social media either, so that was, relatively helpful. I built and I built and I built. And I protected my goals. I protected my vision. I shared my goals and vision in spaces where other women got it, where other women understood. And I met my best friends that year that are still my best friends. So a year after that conversation, after the kids had gone to bed, we were standing in the living room, kind of a cozy lighting. Like it was actually right around this time 2 years ago. And I'm just like, hey, I thought about this so hard. I was like, how am I going to tell him? Like it kind of built up to this big thing. And I just said, hey, babe, remember when you laughed at me when I told you that I was going to do 30K months? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, guess what? Look what I did. And I had my business banking pulled up on my phone. And I had just been, accumulating and saving for taxes and all of that. And I did reinvest a lot the first year, but there was a very good sized chunk in there that I'd just been saving. And he was like, How? What did you do? And by then I'd gone, so January 2020, no, December 2022, I was like, felt like rock bottom. I was starting to apply for full-time jobs. I was like, I've invested all the things and I've only earned $132. Like, what is going on? But at the same time, I had that conviction of like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, there is no plan B because I don't want to go back to corporate. I know it's possible. I just have not learned what I need to learn. I have not had the experience that I need to have, and I'm keeping going. And that's when I found the virtual assistant industry. I was looking at jobs on Indeed. And I mean, you guys know that part of the story because a lot of you are in that space. Um, so May 2023 was a 13K month. It was my first five-figure month. July was the 30K month. It happened in 7 months of finding the business that I have today. And then a couple months later, I had my first 50K month. And I'm going to teach you and tell you and help you do the exact same thing today. I mean, not the same thing. Everyone's journey is on their own. But, if you want high cash months, well, guess what? That's what we're going to talk about and plan for and build today. So by the time I told my husband, I was at 50K months. And yeah, 2 years later, 1.7 million cash. It is all possible. It's all doable. The only limit is you believing or thinking that it isn't possible or that it has to happen on a certain time frame and timeline. And this is, I think, one of the trickiest parts of entrepreneurship is staying in the gap, staying in the void. Who has felt that where it's like you're so clear on where you're headed, but you're also like, dang, I'm not there yet. Like, what is going on? So, this is one of the most powerful muscles that you can develop in entrepreneurship is being able to stay in the void, being able to stay in the gap, being able to stay in the duality. Because here's the thing, I'm going to tell you this completely honestly and transparently is you're always going to be in that spot. You are a high level woman. You are a high achiever. You have big goals, and you're always going to have big goals because you're the type of person who says, hey, I got here. What's possible next? And this is not a conversation about money. This is a conversation about being. This is a conversation about your impact. This is a conversation about your identity. You're gonna get to where you want to go, and you're like, whoa, what else can I create? I've come this far to go even further. Yeah, Rebecca says she's felt that way. Absolutely. So, when you're in the gap, when you're in the void, it's hard, but you're focused on your end point and you let go of the timelines and you also let go of how. And this goes back to the first part of our conversation about impossible goals, where you have your big goal, your stretch goal, and you're like, if I did this twice as fast without being attached to the timeline, how would I do it? And this is also a conversation around identity. I think a lot of people struggle in business because they start with strategy first. And I think that's industry wide. People are just, they were up to their ears in strategy. But the strategy is really obvious when you start with identity. And so that's what I want to help you do today. So you put your goals in the chat, your big goals. I want you to think about at that reality, who would you be? What would you be doing? And get super granular. What would you be wearing? What would you be eating? What environment would you be in? Would you be in your current house? Would you be in a new house? What, like everything, presentation, all of that. What comes to mind? Who is that person? Do they show up? Do they teach workshops? Do they, I'm making up things. Fashion? Are they, or do you just get a lounge in the most glorious athleisure and play with your kids? Like, what is that reality? You as the leader at the end point of your goal. Christina, teaching job with VA, be home with your kids, maintain home, focus on God, not feel rushed or behind. Sarah, larger home with an office, garden, showing up on stages, holidays, first class flights, 20K months, new car, yes, financially free. Okay, so I'm going to go to Sarah's because Sarah said something powerful here. Sarah said she would be showing up on stages. So here's the magic. The way to collapse time around your goals and where you're going is Sarah, to start showing up on stages now. And if there's no stages to show up on, go build your own stage. I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs around, like, okay, let me just give you an example. I had an amazing conversation, it was a couple months ago, and this incredible woman was like, I want to be a coach for moms and I want to have a community and, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I was like, awesome, let's do it. What? And she's like, well, I'm not ready yet. Why not? Well, I haven't built the community. Can you go build the community? I don't know. And so this is it, you guys. If you know what you're supposed to do, go build the community. Go put out the offer. And I think so often we're like, oh, like, it has to be perfect. I have to have the offer perfectly polished. Everything has to be in line. Actually, guess what? It doesn't. That is one of the biggest success codes I can pass on to you too. I promise you that when you look around at like all the people at the top, they're winging it just as much as you are. What it is a game of self-trust. They get the idea, they go. They get the idea, they go. Yeah, Christy, she's doing it messy. She's launching a podcast on January 1st, you guys. And it's something she's like 5 years it's been on her mind. She's like, I'm just committing to the date and we're gonna do it. And she recorded her first couple episodes. She's like, this is messy, guys, but here we go. I'm embodying for you what growth and success is. So I want you to put in the chat because there's things on your mind right now that you've wanted to do for years. That you're like, when I make it, I'm doing this. Let's talk about how you can do it now. Christy, I'm so excited for you. What is something that you're like, when I reach the end point, I'm gonna be, I think speaking is a great one. We could talk about that family trip to Puerto Rico. Let's do it something around work, like something around your purpose, your impact, your work. Okay, Rebecca. Oh, see, this is so good. I think this is one of my zones of genius too, where I'm like, all my clients, like Rebecca's like, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, cool, we're gonna start it this week. Like, insert maniacal laugh. That is really it, you guys. That is the magic. Okay. So Rebecca would start her podcast. She would travel. She could have a podcast on traveling. Christina, train, guide other teachers. Ah, I love this. Then I would say, Christina, let's do it now. Because here's the thing, you guys, no one gives you permission. No one gives you authority. You get to own it. You own your success, you own your authority, you own your identity. This was something I actually learned in direct sales too, was that um, the way you decide to show up and present yourself is someone else's first impression of you. And what that means is you have complete choice and ownership around your identity and around people's impressions of you. And when I realized that, I was like, well, dang, I'm going to go update my bio right now and just be the leader because people who don't know me are going to land on my profile and be like, oh, who's that? Who's that crazy lady? Who is that? Right? Your portfolio. So that's a thing for, those of you who said podcast, speaking, cat, fashion studio. Yes, cat. Then it's like, okay, put together the studio. We're like literally right after this call and start inviting business owners to play in your fashion studio for business branding. That is the magic, you guys. Okay, so I want to talk about there's three levers when we think about, because all of you guys here, I've got my notes so I don't veer off into like Timbuktu. There's three main levers for you for being a woman who scales, a woman who hits high cash months, a high level woman who's crushing her delusional goals. And these are the codes of exactly how in my first year of business I went literally from a $70 month in December 2022. 5K was January, May was 13K, July was 30K. I think October was like 45K, November was 50K, and literally never looked back from that. So are you guys ready? Put a yes in the chat if you're like, tell me all the things. Let's go. Naomi, New York Times bestseller. So you're going to start writing it today. Why wait? There's no waiting. I love it. Because the thing too, before we go, I'm going to tell you the three levers that scale for women who scale. But the thing is that, so often I think we're like, I'm waiting for the download, I'm waiting for the clarity, I'm waiting for the plan. And when it comes in, then I'm ready to go. How many of you have felt that way about a business, a goal, a thing, where you're like, I'll know when I know? Actually, you won't. Sorry, but you won't. You're going to be waiting forever. You're going to be waiting for that plan. You know how you get the clarity? Like Naomi, please start writing your book tonight. You're going to start writing and you're going to get the clarity as you write. And, it's like be open to the process. That my mom always has this saying of like, I think it's the willow tree, right? Where it's like rooted and firm in the ground, but it's able to like sway with the wind. So that's how we want to be in business and goals. You are rooted in who you are, your self-trust, your intuition on the ground, your endpoint, you know exactly where you're going, and then you're going to allow the magic to unfold in the middle. So Naomi's going to start writing her book tonight, and she's going to write about her story. She's going to write about her thoughts, her lessons, her leadership. She's going to pour her heart out. I assume it's for moms, Naomi. And the bestseller will emerge from you writing. It's not going to emerge from you thinking about it or planning for it. I write my best content when I have no idea what I'm going to say and I'm just in the bubble bath, like notes. Oh, wow, this is a really good point of conversation. Or like I'll just, voice message into chat and just be like, blah, 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 like this is what's on my mind today. And then it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I need to be talking about. So for, those of you who want to speak, those of you who want to have podcasts, go start it today. Start it today. Imagine if you spend all of next year thinking about it and being like, when I make it, I'm going to have that podcast. Maybe I'm going to start it at the end of 2026. Can you imagine going into 2026 and you have the podcast? Or let's talk about those of you who want to speak. Start speaking on Instagram Live. Create a Facebook community. Like one of the first things I did was create a community on Facebook. As soon as I figured out, actually, I was going to say as soon as I figured out, what I was doing, which is VA, I actually repurposed. I had the Facebook group before that. It was for moms. So go speak where you can. Go have conversations. And I'll be totally honest, like I knew that on my pathway, speaking was something that was very important. And I would have panic attacks before going live. Like my lips would shake, and there were times where I like literally couldn't. I was like, I'm holding myself accountable to going live today, but like my whole body's literally shaking. It was a visceral reaction. It didn't feel safe. So I found ways around it by interviewing people on lives. That was how I eased into having confidence speaking solo. And even for like podcasts, right? If, like Christy, which she did it too, which is freaking epic. But, if she was like, oh, talking on a solo podcast episode feels really intimidating, she could just go interview people on her podcast and work up to solo episodes. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be perfectly polished. Anything that you do, a Facebook group, a live, an offer, it is allowed to be messy. And just like Christy was actually sharing this on a call earlier, she just literally prefaced her episode, you guys, this is going to be messy, but here we go. I'm embodying for you what growth looks like. So whatever you put in the chat where you're like, this is what I'm going to be doing when I've made it in business, when I'm successful, I want you to start it today. Now we have ChatGPT. Oh, we didn't have ChatGPT a couple of years ago. You can literally be like, give me the 30-day plan, give me the 90-day plan, and hold yourself accountable to doing it and let it be messy. Okay. On that note, that was a tangent, but a very important one. Let's go into the 3 levers that scale. These are the biggest things. This is what you're going to need to have to crush it in 2026. So get your pens, your papers, blow up the chat. Let's freaking go. Let's go. Yes. Okay. Number 1, you stand for something very, very clear. You have a tangible offer, you have a tangible outcome. You don't do 16 different things. You do one thing well. And there's a lot of us in here who are multi-passionates. It is a constant struggle, I tell you. I'm constantly having to be like my head's here, I'm like, back, here, this way, forward. But this is especially when you are in the rocket, like launching the rocket ship phase. One thing, one clear thing, one clear outcome. You can have different offers, but they're all going to lead to the same outcome. And I highly recommend not starting with low ticket. I highly recommend not starting with a membership because you are going to burn out before you get to your income point. If you have a $55 membership that you're starting with, imagine how many people it's going to take you to get to your 5K month. It's much easier to develop a clear core offer that's mid-ticket. And you can do founding cohorts, so give the first round of your offer. And we're gonna go, number 2 is about offers, so don't worry, we'll go into all of that. So you can do founding cohorts, develop the proof of concept. My favorite strategy for any kind of offer is to monetize it as I make it, to run founding cohorts, to run the beta round, to give people who are first a special discount and reason to move, and they get to co-create alongside of me. And in fact, the space I'm going to be telling you about today, there's already several women, including some of the women on here, who are in it and who have paid for enrollment into it, and it launches January 1. So can you imagine how delicious it would be to get paid to create something? You can all do that. Okay, so let's go back. So lever one clear offer. And here's the thing too. Here's how you create authority with it. Let me let a couple people in. You create authority by having opinions, by being spicy and fired up. Let me use an example. Let's use Kat. So Kat does branding, and she runs like the fashion studio for business branding. And her hot take, now of course I'm putting words into your mouth, Kat, so you can correct me. But the hot take is like too many business owners are not intentional with their brands and they just randomly pick fonts and colors and nothing's cohesive. And they're missing out on sales because they don't understand buyer psychology and how to get people to move by having a united, cohesive, visually appealing, science-backed brand, right? Christy's hot take. She does identity work. People start with strategy before the identity, and it's why the strategy doesn't work. Um, let's see. Naomi, I know Naomi's on here. Or sales. Nicole, right? Like businesses, Nicole does sales. So, businesses don't invest in sales processes or teams, and it's why their sales feel really, really hard because they don't have a one clear process to send people through, and then they're not following up with people, so they're losing half the sales anyways. So think about what you do and what is the what is the thing that people do that's the hard way or the wrong way? Because you want to think about an old way and a new way. And it's not that you want to throw rocks at the old way, but you do want to have an anti. And it's like, think about if you were a calorie or like a weight loss coach. You can say, I'm going to teach you how to lose 10 pounds in the next 90 days without having to count calories. Sign me up. Heck yeah, right? So think about your anti, the thing without doing the thing that most people do. When I started, my program was called Mom to VA, and it was helping moms earn 5K months in 90 days as a virtual assistant without having to work out of the home or work full time and using their existing skill set, something like that. I have, my hot takes have expanded. One of the things, like, allow me to get pissed off for you. This is one of my hot takes. It really irritates me how, or I think the industry has done virtual assistants a disservice because you've only been taught how to book one-to-one clients instead of actually building a real mother freaking business, a scalable business. And that actually pisses me off. But the thing is, like, that is what gets people to move. So allow yourself to have opinions, allow yourself to get fired up, allow yourself to share the opinions and be fired up because that is magnetic. When you, like, think about when you walk into a store and you want to buy a new iPhone, or like a new phone, let's say. So you walk into the phone store and you go up to salesperson number 1 and you're like, "Hey, Sally, I need a new phone. Can you help me figure out which one to get?" And Sally's like, "Yeah, there's like that one on the wall, or I mean, this one like is kind of good too. You can just look around. Like, do you want to just look around and see what phone, let me know which one catches your eye. Would you buy from Sally? Nah. Then you walk into another phone store, so you're like, wow, I don't even know. I just no. And then there's Sarah. Sarah, you're like, hey, I need a new iPhone. Can you help me figure out? And she's like, oh my gosh, we just got this new one in. It has this crazy feature. Let me show you. She goes and grabs it. She's like, look at this thing. And most phones do this, but this one has this. And you're like, oh yeah, like give me the phone. Give me the phone. So this is how you need to be about your offer. Be excited, be obsessed, be passionate, be fired up. And so much of your offer too is from your own embodiment and experience. So where, if you're getting clarity, and I think about like Christine, was it Christine Allred? Teaching teachers how to be VAs. Allow yourself to fall in love with the VA industry because of what it has allowed you to do. That the most powerful form of marketing is when you are passionate, you are obsessed, you are loud, you are convicted, and that's all that a buyer needs. They want to feel your passion and your conviction and your belief that you can truly help them. So to recap, lever number one, you're going to have one very clean and clear core thing that you do. You are going to be convicted about it. You are going to be an authority by speaking on what people do that doesn't work and allow yourself to get hot and bothered and fired up about the way that you found. So, even for Christine, I believe, about teachers, like allow yourself to get mad that teachers are stuck in the classroom getting paid peanuts, dealing with crap from the parents, and you are like, attention teachers, I found a better way. I found a different way, you guys. You don't have to deal with the angry parents anymore, or whatever that is. Okay? Yes. Tari says energy sells. Exactly. Okay. All right. Let's go into lever two. Lever two is having a scalable offer. This was one of the things that I recognized early on because my goal, even when I was earning $66 months, was 30K months. And I knew that to get to 30K months, it meant that I was not doing only one-to-one client delivery. It meant that I had some kind of offer that could create impact at scale, that it could hold a lot of people. And funny enough, Christine, because her and I were in this crazy program together, like talk about, man, when you've been in the industry a while, you got some crazy stories. But the value that I got from that crazy experience with Christine, I learned about scalable offers, and that has carried so far. So when you first turn lever number one, you have your thing that you do, you're convicted in it, you're passionate about it, you have a very clear outcome and transformation. Then you create the offer that can hold many people at one time. This for me was Mom to VA, which is now the VA Leadership Academy. How it's structured, if this is any help at all to you. But there's multiple different ways. Like I also run a VA agency, and that's also another way to create leverage and scale in my business. But so let me just run you through actually both models there. So the VA Leadership Academy, there's a core curriculum that has been created. It's been updated. We actually just did a complete update this year. There are weekly coaching calls that people can, come enroll at any time. So it's rolling enrollment, evergreen. Their sales systems set up and team, which I'll go into in lever three, hint, hint. People can come in, they can get started. There's a clear pathway, jump on the calls, get coaching, get support. There's a job board, the curriculum, the community. I have coaches helping support the program. And these are people who had gone through the program and absolutely crushed it. So they're embodied in the transformation and the process. And it works too, going back to lever one, because it's a very clear who it's for, what it is, and what the transformation is. So lever two is creating a scalable offer. And on that, I mentioned this earlier too, but I really strongly, this is another hot take of mine, please do not start. If you truly want to create, multi five-figure months in your business, do not start with a low ticket offer. Do not start with a membership. Do a mid-ticket. When you have a very clear transformation and outcome, and of course your price point is relative to the transformation you provide. So if you feel like your transformation isn't big enough to support a higher ticket, or a mid-ticket is what I would say. So like 1K to 5K range. If you feel like the transformation isn't big enough to support that, then can you find something that has a bigger transformation, or can you go deeper in the offer that you do have? So much of this is about messaging and positioning. I feel like we could go on for hours, but I'm going to try and keep this tight for you guys. Okay. So lever number one, you know exactly who you are, what you're doing, very clean, clear offer transformation. Lever number two, you have a scalable mid-ticket offer. This is going to allow you to get to 30K plus months easily and quickly, dare I say. And so much too, business success, you guys, is not about reinventing the wheel or about talking about new things. It's about repetition. Success actually is not shiny. It's boring in a way because you're doing the same, turning the same levers every day, talking about your offer every single day. There's a rule of fives. Who's heard of that? It's like something about, hopefully I remember it correctly. I bet some of you guys know. Teachers get paid peanuts, Naomi. That's funny. It's like until you hit 1 million, you have 5 ones. You have the same offer. I think it's like one marketing channel. I can't remember exactly. But anyways, basically my point here is repetition. Do not reinvent the wheel. Do not talk about different things. Like talk about your offer every single day. You might feel bored, but your audience is not going to be bored. People need to see things over and over and over again. Okay? Blinders on. Okay, now let's talk about lever three, because this one is very important. Lever three. When I was earning my $66 a month and I said, I'm going to 30K months, it forced me, and this is back to the conversation about impossible goals. It forced me to think about business building differently because, you know, there's things, if you had a $500 a month business goal, you would build differently than if you had a 30K a month business goal. At 30K months, you are going at scale. You're moving at scales, which means you can't do all of the things yourself. So you have to think in terms of leveraged activities. The very first month that I launched Mom to VA, I was working, it's great. I think God gave me like 20 hours in a day. I was working 6 to 7 hours a day as a VA. I was creating the curriculum for Mom to VA. I launched it and sold it out. And I was supporting 8 one-to-one clients going through that while creating it alongside of them. And simultaneously that month, because I was locked on to 30K months, I remember my mentor at the time saying, "Okay, it's time to hire." And you guys, that was the first month I was making money. So I was like, "Excuse me? That's rude. No, like I'm finally making money." And she's like, "You said you wanted to be a CEO." I was like, "Oh, you're so rude, but you're so right." So I went and hired someone for 30 minutes a day. It wasn't expensive. It was $300 a month. It was not expensive. And it didn't even give, you know, it was 30 minutes a day. So it wasn't like this crazy lift. But what that did, it was an identity move. It got me thinking in terms of being a CEO and doing leveraged activities. Where is my time best spent? And what is better spent having teams support me with? And a couple months later, I hired a community manager. And then I found I was on sales calls all day. I was like, this is not the best use of my time. So then I hired the sales team. And shortly after that, we hit our 30K month. So you're all here because you have high cash months. I want you to start thinking like a CEO. It's going to be different it's a different way of thinking than being a solopreneur. The other move that I made early on was everyone learn how to build a community. We actually just had this conversation on the first class mastermind call. You know, one of the ways that you can go book clients is cross-pollinate audiences and go get in front of other people's audiences. But we were talking about how powerful it is to build your own audience. So I created the Facebook group and then I started running ads because I also knew as a mom of 3 that I did not want to be, you know, traffic and lead gen is a very important part of running a business. And I knew that I didn't want to be, you know, like the the network marketing days, like the little, you know, all the little reach outs. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to invest in ads. Yeah, Christy's running ads in 2026. I love this. I wanted to reach people at scale. So there's all kinds of CEO moves. When you are thinking at scale, you're going to move differently. You're going to make different decisions. Team is a huge one. Leveraging your visibility at scale, huge one. There's lots of different ways. Ads, cross-pollinating audiences, building your own audience, your email list, all of that. So it's the CEO moves. But it all comes back to, so that's the third lever, systems, team, automations, making CEO decisions that are leveraged. Okay. But it all comes back to, and this is tying up the conversation in a bow, is your impossible goal, your endpoint, because your endpoint will determine how you build. And in the science of scaling, which I highly recommend, I mean, it's a fabulous book. But he talks about how, he went to all these business owners and he's like, so what's your big goal? What's your business goal? And so many of them were like, oh, in 10 years, I'm going to do this. And he's like, no, you're not going to do it in 10 years. What would happen if you did it in 3 years? And they're like, but then when they started thinking, when push came to shove, so that's what I want to challenge you to do too. It's like, what's your 10-year goal? Put it, I mean, if you feel like putting it in the chat, but think through this with me. What's your 10-year goal? And then if I were to say to you, well, what would happen if you did that in 3 years instead? Allow yourself to be like, oh my gosh. And then, bye everybody. Um, but then allow yourself to think about how you would get there. What if you did have to do it in 3 years? Like Christy's gonna be on Oprah. How would you be on Oprah in 3 years? The Pink Queen, you know? If it was 3 years, I'll give you my insight because my lane is building the world's largest virtual assistant ecosystem. And when I gave myself an impossible goal of having, because my vision for Vala is to be the world's largest and most powerful network and community and ecosystem of trained remote talent. So I was like, well, what would it look like if in 2026 we had 10,000 members? We were the world's largest trained contingent of service providers. And that the number just landed, but then I was like, I mean, the next step came in so easy, you guys. And it made me realize like, dang, we've been doing it the hard way up to this point. Because I realized I was like, wow, if I was going after 10,000 members in 2026, I would create partnerships where these people already hang out. And guess what? How much better would Upwork and Fiverr be if they actually had trained talent? It's such a crapshoot going on there, you're gonna get scammed half the time. Their platform would be so much better if they had trained talent. Well, guess what? We train the talent, you know? So creating partnerships like that, where we, licensing, where we go and train colleges and we have 100 enrollments at a time instead of one by one. And then I was like, oh my gosh, we've been doing it the hard way. So that's what I want for you guys too, is like, think about your big goal, condense the timeline, and allow the answer of how you would get there to do it. And in the science of scaling, he was like, how'd you do it in 3 years? Then he was like, how'd you do it in 1 year? And it's going to force you to think about it entirely differently. And you might really realize that you have been doing it the hard way. So that is what I want to leave you with. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Always here for you. Let's do our giveaway. Who wants? I'm going to tell you all about the space. And I would love, my intention too is to invite you in as well. So I will be sharing the link in the chat. And I'm going to put the replay. I'm going to put the replay on the page to this space. So when you go and watch the replay, you can also check out the space. Reach out if you have any questions. So like we talked about at the beginning of this call, there's something going on in the industry. We're all tired of having strategy shoved down our throats. Likely you've probably worked with many mentors at the same time and your head is full. It's like nothing lands because it's too full. There's no space in your head. And in the age of information, we don't need more information. What we need is connection, community. We need to be in spaces of powerful women who are doing big things, who feel safe in there. There's no pedestals, there's no hierarchies, there's no performing, there's no DM ambushes, there's no fake networking just to sell you something. A community of powerful women who rise and move together. So, this is what I have created. And my vision is to have it be the largest female founder network in the world. It's one of those spaces that's more powerful the more women are in there. We already have several amazing women in, and we are building a founding council of 7-figure leaders who are going to be some of the voices in this space in the name of community connection and collaboration. They're going to be leading, like the months will be themed in 2026. And so all of our experts have a different area and zone of genius. And when I tell you who these names, I mean, these are like the biggest names in the space, you guys. And it's fascinating to me because when I asked them, said, "Hey, I'm building this because of what I've seen in the industry," they're like, "Thank you. Thank goodness. Like this is what we need." So I'm really excited. And this is something too, you guys, like this is a note when you're thinking about what you want to build and create. Pay attention to what you wish you had. Pay attention to the gaps in the marketplace and allow yourself to be the person who creates the solutions. This is the solution I've created for how I felt. I've done all the investing in coaches. I've worked with the biggest names in the industry, and there comes a point where you're like, enough, like I'm done, you know? And not that I will always be invested in myself, but I think there's a powerful conversation around at some point, when is strategy enough and when do you go all in on your self-trust, your intuition, all of that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give away a spot into Women Who Scale is what it's called. And I'm actually going to share with you the page and just go through it a little bit just so you can see what it's all about. Um, and some of the deliverables. Because one of the things I did want to make sure is that you still do have support, but it's through a different lens in like the growth advisor, but there's going to be multiple growth advisors in this space. So this is the page. Hopefully you guys can see it. So Women Who Scale, the Female Founder Network, a high-level network for self-led female founders who are done being the most powerful women in the wrong rooms and are ready to plug into a community where every woman is a peer, a powerhouse, and a catalyst. The power of the network, a directory, collaboration referral board, jobs and opportunity board, a launch and visibility wall. So you're able to share what you're up to and the other women can come on, support you, work with you. There's going to be pop-up circles, small group pods, all of that. The founder community. I'm so excited. This is for you. You're an established founder, you're self-led, you're vision-driven, you think like a CEO, you have high standards, community-oriented, you are playing bigger. And of course, we can all give an amen for that. No drama. So this is the gist. It's not another mastermind. It's not a coaching space. The one thing, so the pillars, proximity, partnership, power. The one thing you do get, we will have monthly calls. We will have weekly office hours. I'm framing these as growth advisor. So the intention is always that you deepen your self-trust and your intuition, but I am there to support you in making the best decisions for yourself in the name of impact at scale, growth in your business. Instead of, can we also get an amen in the chat? Who is tired of watching video upon video upon video? I sure am. So instead of any kind of courses or videos, what I'm going to give you inside there is the scaling library. It's a resource library of plug and play templates, scripts, systems, SOPs, and frameworks. And so you can literally be like, ooh, let me plug and play. Let's get a swipe file for a launch, a sold out launch, for how to lead a team, how to communicate with team, how to create a company handbook, all of that. We're going to do quarterly CEO planning intensives, founder sprints, our founders council, like literally the biggest names in the industry, you guys, who are all like, finally, something like this exists. So this is the first tier at founding member pricing. And then the second tier, this is if you actually want team plugged into your business, as well as monthly one-to-one growth advisor calls with me, where I can help you grow your business. I have brought on JD. A lot of you guys know JD. So she's the head of connection and collaboration. She's such a natural connector. And so she's going to be coming on the founding team to help facilitate the connections. Every member will have a one-to-one onboarding call where you will share your business, your goals for the space, and she's actually going to make connections and introductions for you. I'm so excited. So, who wants to win a spot into Women Who Scale? Put yes in the chat if you're like, yes, 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 yes. Okay, so I'm going to do the giveaway. What I'm also going to do, oh my gosh, I love this. Let's go, you guys. Let's go. what I'm also going to do is put the link here because I would love to invite all of you into this space. This space truly is more powerful the more women that are in it. And I wanted to make the monthly investment for you much lower than a typical mastermind or, it's like you go inquire with a high level coach and they're like, yeah, it's just 5K a month to work with me. And like, no, no more, none of that. You are allowed to have access to the most powerful woman in the industry at an investment that's not going to make your bank account cry and something that's going to help grow you and help grow your business. Okay. All right, so let me pull up the everyone who's on the call. I'm gonna do this like I normally do, where I close my eyes and just go. Okay, so we're gonna pick the winner. And I will say this is for the group tier. So if you win the group tier, which is normally 497 a month, if you want to upgrade to the one-to-one tier, it would make the one-to-one tier where you get 10 team hours a month, where I will hand pair and match you with the perfect fit team member to grow your business. And then monthly one-to-ones with me, you can do that for like $497. Are you kidding me? Okay, you guys ready? Let's go. Okay, so the winner is Megan Braun. And Megan's already in. So Megan, you can decide if you want to upgrade to the one-to-one tier or if you want to have your membership be good to go for the year.
Oh
Congratulations.
my God. I have to come off really quick because Brie, I literally was using my having as you were like talking about this. Oh my gosh, I'm so freaking excited. Okay, I'm off.
I have the goosebumps. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Yay, Megan. Amazing. So fun. All right. What a call, you guys. I cannot wait to watch all of you absolutely crush it in 2026. Please know that, like, there's no limits, there's no limitations. Reality, logic, being realistic, that does not exist. The only limits are the ones that you put in your mind. And so if you ever have a fear, a doubt, a wobble, I encourage you to challenge it. Your beliefs and your thoughts create your reality. And if we were to align your beliefs and your thoughts with the highest possible outcome, and you are just delusional, laser locked on, like there's no other option, there's no plan B. It doesn't matter what your loved ones say, your husband, Aunt Sally, cousin Shirley. I did content about cousin Shirley a couple weeks ago. People thought that was funny. Doesn't matter what they say. It's your dreams and your goals, not theirs. And oftentimes because the thing about business is you're creating something that doesn't exist. You're pulling from the unseen and making it seen. But to be able to do that, it's like we talked about, you have to hold the in between, you have to hold the gap. You got to stay locked on. And it's one of the hardest things, but one of the most powerful things. If you can develop that muscle in business, you will be unstoppable, utterly unstoppable. And Women Who Scale is the space that is designed to help pull that out of you, to hold you, to put you in a room with the most powerful women in the industry. I think that's the exciting part, you guys, too, is like the caliber of women that will be in this space. Because this is an industry sentiment. I was at an industry event. Christy was there. What was that, like a little over a month ago? Or no, whenever it was, recently. And in talking with some of my peers who have built, multi-seven figures, everyone is saying the same thing. We're, like our heads are full of strategy, of coaching. Like we don't need that anymore. And that's not to say like coaching is very powerful, and I'm a direct byproduct of coaching and investing in myself. But there comes a point where your most powerful growth lever in business is your own self-trust and intuition. And so I've created Women Who Scale to give you, you're going to have the scaling resource library, you're going to have access to my brain to help grow your business, to all of the community members. But this is really a space where you come into your own and be the high level woman. I mean, you are the high level woman, but be amongst other high level women, be seen, celebrated, connected, all the things. I don't have to go anywhere like really quick. So if anyone does have questions about anything, let's chat. Let's hang out for a little bit. My kids are home on a snow day, and so it's kind of one of those like just cozy, fun, like unhinged. There's no rules today. So if anyone wants to come up or even just share reflections, have you had your own experience with, you've done the things and you're like, no more strategy? Kaylin has to log off. Amazing. Kat's headed to the bus stop. Yes. Heidi's owning her dreams. Amazing. Well, if anyone does want to come up, feel free. Awesome. Okay. Well, here's what will happen next. We will get the replay out. My goal is within the next couple hours, so we'll email it to you. I'm just going to actually put the replay at the top of the Women Who Scale page. So go check it out. If you do have questions, you can just reply to the email. You can DM me on IG. Yeah, I'm sure you know where to find me, and happy to chat with you and help you decide if it's a good next step for you. All right. So much love, everybody. I can't wait to see you crush it in 2026. Bye.